The next project in the house is to frame a small laundry room on the wall between the kitchen and the bedroom. That wall is going to stick off of this wall 36 inches, and 36 inches lands us right in the doorway. So what we're going to need to do is take this door and shift it over about a foot. This wire right here is definitely in the way, so we're going to have to pull it out of the wall, pinning it up against the top of the wall, and then later it'll be replaced with a new Romex wire. In the new design of the kitchen, the refrigerator is going to be sitting right here. So this window is going to be eliminated from this house completely. Let's gather up our tools and get started.
Here's a look at the outside of the door before we get started, just to sort of let you see what we're working with. That is where the roof was over top of this porch. And here are a couple of photos just to let you see what it looked like. The porch roof was smaller than the porch because the porch was ripped down and rebuilt later. So that has already been torn down previous to this video. I started out by disconnecting the electrical, and you're going to want to make sure that it is turned off before you do any of that. So what I needed to do first was go ahead and get the window out of the jamb. I didn't want to destroy these windows, so I removed them as careful as possible. Next, I removed the door from the pre-made jamb. This is a door where you just buy the whole unit and install it. But I wanted to reuse that, reusing the whole door, so I was going to reuse the jamb. So I went ahead and cut the nails with a sawzall and removed the exterior trim and was able to set that door jamb to the side. At some point in time, this new, more modern door had been installed in this house. So once I removed it, I was working with the existing threshold, that piece of wood that I'm pulling out right now. So I went ahead and removed that completely, and that got me down to the framing of the house. That's the, what do you call it, the sill or the band joist that goes around the house. Then I just started removing the framing because I need to make a new rough opening for the new location of that door. So this is pretty much just some demolition stuff using sledgehammers and pry bars. And I needed to get this siding out of the way, and once again sawing all the nails off with a sawzall with a metal cutting blade. It's actually what do you call it, a demolition blade. It cuts wood and metal. They're very, very nice to work with. They last a long time. I use a DeWalt brand for the demolition blades. So not a lot to really report on right here, just kind of showing tearing it all out. And you'll see me put up a support in a minute, but you do want to be very careful in doing something like this, that you are not cutting away all the support, because you could have something collapse on you and kill you. So be careful. This particular house is a single-story house on a two-story or three-story, or a larger structure with something heavier above. You're going to want to be extra careful on that. So what you saw me doing just then was marking out the location of the new door, cutting away that bottom part of the wall, and then now I'm hammering in the joist. So I was able to just reuse the stud. I was able to reuse the stud from where that was previously framed, and then I'm filling in where that threshold is to get it all up to the same level, because I'm going to have the studs that I'm putting back up are going to be right on top of that 2x4 you see there. So just getting everything back up to level. So that is just replacing the lower part of the wall. That first pieces you saw me fill in was just to get the floor back up to the level of the rest of the subflooring, and then I just laid that shorter piece in, and then that stud goes up to the top of the wall. So that sort of is starting to establish one side of the rough opening. You can see, left and right there, and then putting those inner pieces in, that establishes the height of the rough opening, and then you just put the header in over top of that. And I'm just reusing the same header from the previous location. Basically, I'm just making everything almost as if I didn't do it, just moving it over. And I'm spacing all the studs back into the wall on the same 16-inch centers to where it'll work nicely with the drywall and filling in over top of the header. With the rough opening reestablished, I needed to get the door jamb remounted in the opening. So what I did is ripped a piece of OSB to the width of the door jamb and then cut it to the length of the height of the door jamb. And the purpose of that was to nail it on the hinge side of the jamb to reinforce it. The previous owner of this house had it all rigged up. It was probably a used door to start with when they installed it. So I just put that OSB in there to give me a good anchor point for the screws, and did the same for the strike plate side of the door, just to where I had good wood to screw into. So here I am just getting the screws mounted in, and I'm kind of doing them tight right there, but in reality I kind of had them loose. So I loosened them back up. That gives you a little play for when you're knocking the pins into the door. And you can see that the jamb is not really screwed into the door yet. I just have it pinned in with some 18 gauge nails just to kind of hold it in place. In the next step you'll see where I start to kind of level things out. So there's a look at it just roughly put in. So what I'm doing now is I'm kind of shimming the door out. The reason I didn't just nail it all in before the door was actually on the hinges is because I might install it twisted. You need to make sure that the door itself is one flat plane, so you need to make sure that the door jamb is installed flat. So I wanted to have the door actually on there to do this and to shim it out into the rough opening nice and tight. So all this is pretty self-explanatory. I'm just screwing it into the door jamb, then I'll go back and fill those holes later. I'm using a countersink bit and some long construction like decking screws and my impact driver. Then once you're done, you know you've got everything where you want it, you can just kind of start snapping off all your shims, and that gets them out of the way for your outside sheathing and interior drywall. Here's a final shot of the door moved and the laundry closet built, just to better illustrate why I had to move the door. So I hope this video helps you out in maybe showing you that it's not as big of a deal as you might think to move a door. If you'd like to see more videos of mine, click the big red subscribe button after this photo and you'll become a subscriber of the channel and get updates when I post future videos. And be sure to check my channel for the other videos I've already posted. You can also see my other YouTube channels. The links are in the description of this video, and they're called The Homestead Craftsman and Square Inch. Thanks for watching.